Hey, Junaid here. I'm starting this new series where I will build apps using Laravel, Bootstrap, and Livewire. For every video, I will be using the same Laravel 7 installation that I have configured, and I have installed Bootstrap, Livewire, and as well as configured the database. And for this video, we will build a ToDo app, and I have already created the design for the app. This will take the task, and as we add the task, it will appear with a checkbox and a delete icon so that we can make the task as done, or we can remove it as well. So let's see the markup. So this is the index page of my app, and to add tasks, we have this input box. Then we have the heading, and beneath the heading, we have a list of tasks. So this li represents one task. What we will be doing is we will create components and extract each part of the UI to its own component. Let's start creating a task component which will contain this li. Artisan make Livewire and the name of the component. We will call it task. So I have already started the Livewire package, so we don't have to. So as you can see, it generated a task class as well as its view. The task class resides in the HTTP Livewire folder and view in the views Livewire directory. So let's take a look at both of these. App, HTTP, Livewire, and task class. So this extends the Livewire's task component, and by default it provides the render method which returns a task view. Okay, so and if we look at the task view, it is just a empty div. So we need this in order for the component to work. Okay, so let's go back to the index page and bring that li here. So okay, so this is the task, and we will bring it here. Okay, so how do we use this component? As you are familiar with Laravel's blade syntax that allows you to include partials, it's exactly the same, but it's called Livewire. And you call that component by its view's name. So for us, the view name is task. So we type task. Okay, let's get rid of this li. Let's see it's working. And if you want one more component, or suppose we have more than one tasks, so they will appear here. Okay, so at the moment the text for each task is the same because we haven't done anything and it's hard coded here. So what we will do next is pass the task's name and the status, either it's marked done or not done. So as I said, this directive works just like the Laravel's include directive. So it can take an argument or set of arguments. So we will pass a name, and we will call it, we will assign a value, stay at home. We will also pass an ID. Okay, so eventually when we refactor this component, this will be replaced with a model we will create a task model, then pass this task model to this component. Okay, for now bear with me, I'm doing this manually so that we can learn how we can do things in Livewire. So we will call this the ID, and this will be ID1, then we give it a name. Then what else we need? We need a flag to tell the task if it's done or not. Is done. So whatever we pass here, we can access it from our component. This task is done. Let's copy and paste this to the next component. Okay, so play with children. This task is done, and sleep. So let's say this task is yet to be done, so we'll make it false. If we refresh the page, this will break because we haven't told the task component what to expect, so it will go crazy. So this is trying to unpack in array string keys, but it can't because we haven't told it what to do. So we will tell it here. There's a method called mount, and it is called whenever the component is ready loading. This is just the sort of the constructor or the initializer of this component. Mount, and it will take 3 parameters: the ID, the name, and is done, and we will tell it that it's false by default. Okay, as I said, we will refactor it later. So for now, let's stick to this ID. Okay, we cannot use ID in a Livewire component because it's a reserved keyword. So let's call it task ID and ID. Then we create this property. So this must be public, otherwise we can't access it from our components view. This name equals name. This is public too. This is done equals is done, and let's refresh and see. So this is working, but our input is not being received by these tasks. Okay, they are being received, but they are not being displayed. So whatever variables we have defined, let's say is public. Sorry, I missed this. So these variables, these variables or these properties are available to this component. So if we want to display the text we passed to the component, we want to display it, we will print that variable here. Okay, whatever name we passed, it should display here. Okay, got it? Everything is come. And the ID, we can use the ID to pass them here, and as well as we will tell each component to use this ID for our Livewire. Okay, we will do this wire key equals, so we say task and pass this task ID or display the task ID. Then we will use this and replace it with ID. So if the task ID is 1, this will be task 1, and this component checkbox's ID will be, we will call it task check 1 and task check 2 and so on. Okay, so this part is done. If we inspect the page, so these are reflected here, task check 1, and the corresponding ID is here. Okay, so this is good, and let's bring the is done status of the task. So right now every task is striked out. What we want to do is, if the task is done, only then display this strike true. Okay, so the first 2 tasks are marked as done, the third one isn't. Let's verify it. Indeed, this is true, and this is not true. So this task is still available. Next we will do is make this checkbox toggle the done and not done status of the component. Okay, whenever we click here or check the box, it should toggle this task as done or not done. Okay, let's do it now. So let's move this input inside the task. Okay, I hope the design won't be disturbed. No, this should work like this. Okay, no? Wrong. Okay, I think we made a mistake here. If we go to the index, we were passing the same ID. Okay, but behind the scenes I tried to actually fix it, but then realized that I missed this and passed the same key to all the components. Okay, that's why they went crazy. Okay, so now what we do, as I said, we will add an action to make this task as done or not done. Okay, we can add actions to a component by calling wire click and passing the action. So what are we doing here? We are toggling a task as done or not done. So we will call it toggle. And let me remind you, this is not a JavaScript function. This will be a PHP function that we will define in the component class. Toggle. And what it will do is, it will just turn this is done variable on and off. Okay, this dot is done equals not is done. Okay, it just switches the value of this variable. Okay, if it's true, it will make it false, and vice versa. So let's see if it works. So when I click it, it should. Okay, so this might be working, but we haven't told what to do when this boolean is switched on or turned on. Okay, no, we have. Okay, if is done, then show the strike. When we click on the Y, okay, let's just add this event to the checkbox perhaps. See. Okay, so right now this is not being stored. It is just switching the value, and that's it. So this part is done. Now, okay, we will make the parent list as a component and then pass this component as a child component. Let's do it now. Let's make another component, and what should we call it? Let's call it tasks list. Tasks list. So similarly, we have a task list class and its corresponding view. Let's open it up, and not this, but its view. So let's copy all this or cut all this and paste it here. Okay, so when we do, then we have to call this component here, Livewire. Anytime you forget what the component's name is or name was, you just look here. This is the name of the component. Okay, so let's move to the browser and refresh. This is working. Okay, so what eventually we will do is the task list will be responsible for fetching the tasks, and what we can do for that, let's create a function, create the mount function, and we don't have the class right now, but eventually what will happen, we will call the task list task all, then assign it to the this tasks equals task all, and this will be available to the component. Okay, right now this might not work, this won't work actually because we don't have this model. Then we can get rid of these components and we will be loading from the tasks list. Okay, so for each tasks as task, and we will pass through a task here. So we'll say task. I think we can do this like so as well. Okay, but let's check with this. Okay, right now it will break, as I said. Let's create a model, then see what happens. Okay, let's create a model, or make me a model, and we call it task, and also create us a factory and migration. Okay, so database migrations, and we have this tasks migration. Okay, so let's add the fields we need, table, and we want it to be a string, and we'll call it name, and that is required and it's not nullable. And tab next will be the boolean value of is underscore done, and its default value is false. Okay, so it has an ID, it is an ID, a name, and is done a property and the timestamps. We are good to go, I guess. Let's create the factory as well so that we might use it. Name, configure, words. Okay, let's say a paragraph. Paragraph will be fine, I guess. Let's go with it. Name, and then is underscore done. So that will be a random value between 1 and 0. So select random, 1 and 0. So if we generate fake to-dos, then we can use this. Okay, it will generate a random paragraph and randomly select either true or false. Okay, let's create some tasks. We haven't run the migrations. Not migrate. Okay, let's refresh it. I've already the table, so okay, this is migrated. And let's go to the Tinker and create some tasks. Or Tinker, you say app task, class, factory, and we need 4 tasks. Okay, then we want to create them. So these 4 tasks are created. Let's go back to the browser and see if it works or zooms. Okay, so okay, got it. So task is not here, it's in the app namespace. So let's fix it. In the tasks list, let's import it. App task. What's happening here? Task all. So we created the task here. Then the error is in TasksList blade PHP. So it thinks there's something wrong with TasksList. So we should have a tasks list. Okay, so Livewire is expecting a task, and in the task class we are passing these 3 parameters. So let's replace it by task and task. Then we'll assign this to the task property. Okay, so let's get rid of all of these and call this task, and this will break. So let's keep this one and see what happens. So is done, this dot is done equals to okay, let's have it like this for now and hope that it works. Okay, it won't still work because we are not using task here. Let me call the task ID here. We can also do this dot task dot is done, but I'm using this for now. Bear with me. The task ID, the ID, and this will be the task name from the database. Okay, let's hope it works. Okay, it does. So see how beautiful it is. So with almost minimum effort, we have created this beautiful interactive UI. So what next I will do is, when I click this task or mark this task as done, it will be updated in the database. Let's do it now. We'll go to the task, and this is just toggling the value here. Let's perform an update. So this task is underscore done equals, okay, let's move it below because we need the current value of this. Okay, is done, and then save the task. So this, you see, we don't have auto completion because we haven't actually marked this as a task model. Okay, so if we do it now, we might get code completion. So there we have it. So let's see if this works. Hey, this persisted. Okay, now if I do it like this and refresh the page, and these are persisting. There is a small problem though. This checkbox is not checking, so let's fix that. It's pretty easy fix. We already have done this. Let's copy this and paste it here, because whenever the task is marked as done, it should be checked. Okay, so let's refresh and see if it works. Yes, it does. There we go. We have a partially working to-do list. So the next thing we will be doing is removing the task from the database, or deleting the task from here will reflect it in the database. So let's do that now. First, we will add an action to the delete button. Let's say wire click equals delete. So the task will create public function delete, and what we will do is this task. See how simple and beautiful it is. So when I click this delete button, this is not updating at the moment. When I refresh it, so we have 4 tasks right now. So let's see if it updates. Yes, it does. Really beautiful. So how can we achieve this? Whenever we click the button and the list updates, let's try to figure that out. So turns out it's pretty simple. When we click the delete button, it will fire or emit an event, and we will catch that event in the parent component and update the list. Let's see if that works. Whenever we delete, this should emit an event we call task deleted. Okay, so in the parent component we will bind to this listeners. Okay, we say whenever a task is deleted, refresh tasks. Okay, so this parent component listens for this event to happen, and as soon as this happens, this will be called. Okay, let's create that function or method, as some people love to call it, abf refresh tasks. So what will happen here? We'll just update the tasks list. Let's see if that works. Let's refresh the page and delete a task. No, that won't work. Let's see if our event is firing. Let's create some more tasks. Okay, we have more tasks. So let's die and dump here. See the event is fired or not. Okay, let's refresh and do a delete. Yes, the event is firing and it can listen to it, but this list is not being updated. So let's go to the documentation of Livewire and figure this out. Okay, after struggling behind the scenes, I figured this out. If you remember, we added a wire key to the task view. Okay, so the culprit was this, I guess. So let's remove this. Okay, and let's revisit our code that deletes or refreshes the data. This event is listened here. When task is deleted, the refresh tasks is called. Okay, so then what it does is it refreshes the tasks list. Okay, so and also we have to pass a third parameter with key and the ID of the task task.id. Okay, so if we refresh the page and let's get rid of this, let's delete this, and there we go. So this one was pretty simple, but since this is our first time, then that's why we struggled. Okay, and one last part that remains is the task creation component. Let's do that and call it a day. So let's create another component. Let's call it AddTask. And let's go to the AddTask component and go to the index view. And take all this. Share and call the component here. So you know the drill. Livewire and name of the component add task. This should remain the same, be working. Okay, so the next thing is what we want to do is when we type something and As soon as we press enter, this task will be recorded. Okay, we don't want to do anything else for now. Let's add an event to the text box. Add task, the component, and sorry, when we press enter on the field, it should trigger add task. Okay, so this Livewire allows you to make your namings better. For example, this is the add task component. So we can already this component is telling that this is a task. Okay, then we can just say save. Okay, we can say save. Okay, so what happens when we click the submit button? It will take the input from this field. Okay, sorry, let's remove this. So we can say this is the model. So we say name. This is the name of the task. Let's add a field here, public string name, and let's do a divide and dump and see if this works. Okay, so test undefined variable name. Okay, sorry, this should be this dot name. Try again. Okay, this is working. Now we just have to process this text. So we will call create, or we can do like this: string task is equal to new task. Okay, then we give it a name. We save it, and that's it. And then we can do is, so after we add a task, we will get rid of this. Okay, and we can use reset. Okay, this will empty all the fields within the component. Okay, let's try. So same thing happening. This is not showing. So what we will do, as soon as we save the task, we will fire an event or emit an event that the task has been added, and tell the parent component to refresh the tasks list. Okay, so this emit task added. Okay, that's all this has to do. Now let's go to the tasks list and add another listener to it, and it's called task added. So we can call the same function. Let's try it again. Another task. This didn't work. Let's see why. Why did it not work? Fetch all. Let's see what happens now. So 1 2 3 4 5 6. Now we should have 7. Okay, this works. So let's test it again for delete. Okay, awesome. So it's working. I think you along with me learned so many things about working with Livewire, and I really enjoyed making this video. I hope you enjoyed learning something new. So let me give you this assignment. After you add a task, so there is no way I can update or modify any task apart from updating it by marking it as a done or removing it altogether. So it would be nice if I could just double click or single click a task and I can edit it. And whenever I press enter, I should be able to see the updated task. So try it, see if you can do it or not. Thank you for staying with me for this long. Take care. See you in the next video.